We'll continue our discussion of strings with part 2. So a string is a collection of characters, and you can access individual characters by using what's called an index. An index is the position of a character, and as usual, our position starts counting at 0. So the character at index 0 is M. The character at index 7 is Y, and so forth. And this must have, what's that, 10, 20. Okay, it looks like 20. There are 28 characters, and the indexes go from 0 to 27. So you can use the index to access an individual character from a string. And if you wanted to find what's at index 0 and 1, you put the name of the variable, movie, and inside brackets you put a 0, and this will print the character at index 0. This will print the character at index 1. Let's run it and see what it looks like. So this takes a little getting used to. Index 0 is M, index 1 is O. So yes, that worked. So if you want the third character, and I'm saying third like the way humans think of third, which would be 1, 2, 3, you want the N, right? But don't forget that when you want the third character is at index 2. So just kind of keep that in mind. It'll take, you'll get used to it in a bit. So the third character is at the one at index 2, and there it is. There's a shortcut in Python for pulling out the last character. Now, we do know that the last character is at index 27. So, but this pulled out the last character, the S, just by having a -1. A -1 is a sign for Python to go to the end and pull out. -1 is the very last character. You could this would also work if you put the index 27 there, but it's much more convenient to do -1 because you don't always know how long the string's going to be. So -1 will always work to pull out the last character. So 27 worked and -1 works. So if you want the second to last character, you just put a -2 there, and that pulled out the U. And that worked. So if you want to pull out a bunch of characters, let's say you want to pull out the first 4 characters of the string, that'll be right there, MONT. And the indexes you need are 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 4 characters. So the way you do it is inside your brackets, instead of just having one index, you would have an index colon another index, which would say where to start. We're going to start the 0th character. And we're going to go to, wait a minute, this says 4. But don't we only want 0, 1, 2, 3? Yes, we do. But the way this works is the same way for loops work, and that is in the range function. The very last number, 4, is not used. So it uses the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, and stops. It doesn't do 4. So when you run this will print the first 4 characters of the string, and this will be MONT. And that worked. It's actually easier. You don't have to say start at the beginning at 0, because if you leave that out and just have a colon, so you don't put any number, any index there, Python just defaults to starting at the beginning and going 0, 1, 2, 3, and does not do 4. And so this is the same thing. And it's probably even preferable to do it this way. It's just less typing, and everyone knows what's going to happen. So if you want the last 4 characters, you just start at the 4th to the last and go to the end. And so you could type in 27 there, which is that actually wouldn't work. You probably want to type in 28 there, which would give you the last 4 characters. Let's run this one. You'll get RCUS. This will still work even if I run this. Yeah, RCUS. And 28 is the length of the movie variable. And so that would work. The length of the movie variable is 28. There are 28 characters in here, even though the last index is 27. But once again, this is too much work. It's if you leave the number after the colon out, then you can it'll just default to going from the fourth to last character to the end. Now there's another thing which I did mention before, is that we show a starting and essentially stopping, or one past the stopping index. But you can also add a step, and the next couple examples will show how the step works. So here we have a step, and the step means, just like a for loop essentially, in the range command, is that you'll skip every other one if you put a 2 there. So let's read this carefully. It'll use a movie variable. It'll start at the beginning. It'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the index. It won't do 10, but it actually won't do every one. It'll skip every one. So I guess it'll go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and it won't do the 10. So this will give us index 0, which is M, N, Y. And so let's run this and see if we get the M, N, Y, whatever. Okay, M, N, Y, P, T. Yeah, this skipped every other position. That's what the 2 does. And there's one interesting, I don't use it a number that often unless I want to go backwards. You can actually reverse a string by pulling out one letter and then going back. So your step, instead of skipping one, you're just going backwards one. So here, this one, we start at the beginning. If you don't put anything here, it means you go to the end. Oh, wait a minute. No, Python does this is even smarter. As soon as it sees that we're going backwards, it starts at the end, goes to the beginning, and proceeds by going back one step every time. So this goes Monty Python backwards. Monty space Python's Flying Circus. Now, you could, let's say we wanted to start at the end. You could type in 28 here, but typing in 0 means you want to start at the end, go to the beginning. This won't work. Let's run this, and you'll see that you'll be missing one letter. Can you tell why? So this one doesn't have the M. This is Auntie Python's Flying Circus, backwards. Because we're starting at the end, but remember it does not actually use the index 0, so it stops at index 1. That's why you get Monty Python. So it goes from the end, it's going backwards, but does not include 0. Python doesn't include the second number, the index, the character there. So this doesn't work, so you actually do need to have at least one of these blank and to make this work. So likewise, if you want to just maybe start at the last number, go to the fourth to the last number, and go backwards. This one will give us SUCR. No. I should not jump so fast. Yeah, that number, position -4 is not included, so it's the last 3. And then from the middle of the string to the end, you can do calculations here. You don't actually have to have a number. Here we have a calculation. The middle of the string is the position which is starting at the halfway point. So if the whole length of this is 28, we want to start at 14. We want 14 characters, so we start at 14 and go on. Do you know why I have 2 slashes here? Well, first of all, this thing did work. By the way, you can't really see, but it did print the blank up until Flying Circus, so it printed all of these. And if we don't have 2 slashes, why don't we just divide by 2? Let's do that. And it gives us an error. And let's look at the error. Line 9. And it says the slice indices must be integers. So if you have a regular division, it takes this number and using a regular division returns a floating point number. So this will be 14.0, but 14.0 is not an index. So if you want to do an indexed, integer division, you do have to have 2 slashes. Okay, and that's it for this section.